Hi, I'm Perry, and you're listening to The Beauty Brains. Hello and welcome to The Beauty Brains, a show where real cosmetic chemists answer your beauty product questions and give you an insider's look at the cosmetic industry. This is episode 403. I'm your host, Perry Romanowski, and I'm not solo today because Valerie George is back. Hello, Valerie.
Hi, Perry.
You know, since Valerie is still taking care of the little one, we're going to make this a slightly shorter episode, but we will be covering some of your questions. We have a big backlog, so we'll get to those in the next show, but we got a bunch here today. And those include, does product buildup cause breakage in hair? Is a chemical exfoliant better than a soft silicone scrubber? What are your thoughts about beef tallow facial creams? And are rinse-free shampoos any good? But first, Valerie, you're back. It's just been, it's less than a month, but you're back.
Yeah, it's a few weeks, but, you know, I missed you guys. And so I said, let's come back. I had a baby boy, baby C, we'll call him. And he's so sweet. He hardly cries. Hardly meaning I've only ever heard him cry once. And that was because I actually accidentally bopped him on the head. But
Wait, you're not going to call him baby cosmetic chemist?
Well, that's what baby C is short for.
Oh, okay, gotcha, baby C.
Exactly. Yeah. But he's the sweetest thing. He's so kind. And, you know, it's important to talk to babies to keep them engaged. And when we first had him, guess what I said to him?
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
No. Hi, I'm Valerie, and you're listening to The Beauty Brains. Because he heard us record so many episodes when he was in my belly. And when I start talking like that, he calms down right away. He loves my voice. He turns his head when I walk in the room and say something. And yeah, he likes to hear me talk. So I give him the Beauty Brains opening spiel sometimes because he doesn't know what I'm saying. And he likes it.
He just hears the tone. So yeah, that's very cool. And you look like you feel better.
Yeah. Oh gosh. He was very big, also early. So he was poised to be bigger. And yeah, I feel, you know, I'm still recovering. It's very hard to have a baby. I also had a C-section, full disclosure. So that's another thing on its own that's very difficult to recover from. And there's a lot of stuff they don't tell you about what happens after you deliver. So
they want people to keep having babies, right?
That's what they told me. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just doing the best I can and trying to enjoy all the moments.
I think there's like some evolutionary significance to like pregnancy forgetting. Like you kind of forget all that stuff. That way you're primed to have another one.
I am not forgetting that stuff. Right. I'm not forgetting.
All right. Well, we'll check back in a few years. So your schedule is what, like 9 to 5 now? When the baby sleeps through the night.
Oh goodness. Well, he actually, because he's bigger, he actually sleeps pretty well. But I mean, he's not sleeping through the night. He's still just a few weeks old. But Mr. Cosmetic Chemist stays up until 2 to 2:30, and then I get up at 2 to 2:30 and take over. So my day pretty much starts very early, and I just tell myself, you know what? It's like you're on European time.
Sure. Yeah, it works fine.
And the only problem is I have to go to bed really early. So
that is a problem. But, yeah. So we'll try to get the show in earlier.
Well, I'm glad to be back. So what have you been up to? I know we've been texting, but you're always on the go.
I've been traveling a bunch. I did a road trip to New Jersey, the Jersey Shore. The beaches there are very nice. Although, you know, they charge you to go on the beach, which seems kind of weird to me.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, I thought that was public property.
No, but I guess it's, pays for the lifeguards and the cleanup, so I can see it. Here in Chicago, no charge to go to the beaches.
Well, I could see paying for the parking, which would cover that stuff. But to actually pay to go on the sand, I think, is interesting.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people walk up there, so.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very nice. I had a family reunion, which was lots of fun. And then this weekend, I did my 150-mile bike ride in support of MS, the charity raising money for MS research. It's a great charity. And, you know, I hadn't ridden a bike in probably 9 or 10 months.
I was going to say, don't you do this ride every year?
Well, I didn't. The last time I did it was 2022, so it's been like 2 years. But yeah, I don't regularly ride a bike because I'm always a little nervous in the city. You're riding your bike and you could easily get hit by a car.
Very easily, yeah, especially in Chicago.
Yeah, so I don't ride my bike a lot, but it turns out my legs from the running is still good enough to ride the bike. So
I was going to ask how your knee's doing.
You know what? The knee was fine. It was very strange. I still have to go to PT, but I haven't made an appointment yet. I mean, what if it just goes away on its own? Because it kind of is getting better. I don't know.
Probably not going to happen.
Probably not. You know what else is not going to happen? Our first story in beauty news. Well, Valerie, there's one story is making the rounds all over the news, at least in the cosmetic industry, and this is the Safer Beauty Bill. Actually, it's like 4 different bills that are supposed to target cosmetic safety. I don't know. Have you seen this one?
I have, and I have a lot of thoughts about it. I think you know this. I'm pretty active in the advocacy space for regulations, mostly at the state level, not the federal level.
Sure.
So I have seen this, and I do have some thoughts.
Yeah, well, it looks like this was introduced by somebody from Illinois, somebody from Texas, California, and Massachusetts. So some of the bigger states. And it's a 4-part federal legislative initiative designed to address theoretically the ongoing safety and transparency concerns of the beauty industry. Now, we just had MOCRA, which was passed in 2022, which was supposed to address all of this. But apparently these legislators don't think enough was done.
The reason I think I agree with you, this bill is going to have a lot of difficulty passing because, first of all, there are some frameworks in place to make products safe. So having additional frameworks that differ from what the states are doing, because a lot of the states have actually enacted some of this stuff, like banning lead, formaldehyde. This is a very difficult thing to do. And if you look at the first bill, which is the actual Toxic Free Beauty Act, which is what they've called it, HR 4433, they have a list of chemicals that California actually has restricted as well.
Okay.
And it's very difficult, I think, to duplicate this at a federal level. First of all, some of these are already restricted in certain applications, like formaldehyde. Mercury and mercury compounds are actually already banned at a federal level. So I'm not sure what good it would do using these. And then you have Liliol, which is actually a trade name, not a chemical name.
That's a component of fragrances.
Exactly. Cyclotetrasiloxane, which is restricted in California now. And then we have O-phenyldiamine, M-phenyldiamine, 2 hair colorants that aren't really used anymore. So triclosan's another one. Toluene, no one's using that in cosmetics. Yeah, then they have things that aren't banned per se, but contaminants that are restricted. So saying lead and lead compounds above 2 ppm for color cosmetics, there's no way a company could comply with that.
Right. Unless they're not going to offer, well, that just means certain colors wouldn't be offered anymore.
Many colors wouldn't be offered. Like anything that's foundation or skin colored would never comply with this. Maybe even sunscreens wouldn't comply with this. So I think mineral-based sunscreen. So I just think a lot of it is repeated from the state of California, which I think the EWG was involved. This looks like an EWG list to me, to be honest.
It does, yeah. They also put in there the formaldehyde donor preservatives, just ban those outright. With, this isn't like a safety thing because those things can be used safely. So, this is not, the problem with all of this is not science-based legislation. No. It's I don't know. So I guess the new code would be it's vibe legislation or something. Like, it feels like it's dangerous, so let's just ban it.
I know. It's really disappointing because they clearly don't understand the science behind it. So that's actually what I do on the state level is I try to create education to the legislators about why this stuff is silly and how it sets a precedent for future restrictions that also don't make sense at all.
Yeah, I look at this and, there's a cosmetic safety protections for communities of color Salon Workers Act, which is looking at the FDA oversight for synthetic hair products. What is it? That's probably regulated now, by EPA or OSHA?
Well, OSHA regulates the salon and spa space in terms of worker
workplace.
safety.
Yeah,
the FDA wouldn't have anything to do with that unless this were an ingredient restriction for those products.
Yeah, I was just thinking like synthetic hair, though. That would not fall under the FDA purview.
Synthetic hair would not at all.
Well, I guess this is supposed to make it so that would happen there. Looking at this, it's just in committee, and considering how our government is now trying to get rid of like all regulations for everything, I don't see this bill going very far. I'm not even sure why it made so much news.
It's not even good regulation.
Yeah.
It's just not.
That's the sad part. But the bottom line, in my view, cosmetics are already some of the safest consumer products that you can buy and use. This extra legislation isn't going to help in that regard.
Exactly. What I thought was interesting while I was out was this celebrity launch never caught our radar. I'm pretty sure it's never caught our radar, meaning we would have never, ever, ever predicted this celebrity to create a line. Who is it? Well, you already know.
Story. I do already know. This is a story. At the young old age of 84, Martha Stewart enters into the anti-aging business, I guess. Wow.
I would have never predicted her to launch her own product line.
I mean, she probably has a product line for like home care stuff.
Well,
right?
That stuff. She actually had a huge collection at Kmart in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was actually very cute stuff. I meant personal care. I would have never pictured her as a beauty icon. Clothing, home care, that kind of stuff for sure. But at the age of 84, 84, her birthday is August 3rd, launching her own collection, wow.
I mean, in the pictures they show, she looks pretty good for 84.
Well, I think a lot of people look good who have money.
Yeah,
that's
right.
part of it.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was watching Billy Joel has a documentary on HBO.
Okay.
And they were interviewing Christy Brinkley, and I'm like, she's 74? Wow.
I know. I know. Genetics is also part of that. That's for sure.
Yeah. My wife said, genetics and then having a lot of money helps too.
Yeah, that helps.
So she worked apparently with Hailey Bieber to develop, who has her own brand, which is Rhode, which was recently acquired by e.l.f. So I guess she's going to be doing her own. What does she call it?
The name of her line is Elm Biosciences, which, is kind of an interesting name. But she worked with somebody who worked with Hailey Bieber.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what happened. At least that's what they say what happened. So
sure.
This is a breakthrough, first of its kind system to support skin longevity.
Okay, it's not a breakthrough, but it is probably a first of its kind because it's the first time Martha Stewart put together something like that. But
well, actually, they said this is not her first foray into beauty because they're counting her CBD collection that was launched in September 2020 as a beauty line.
Is that one's not around anymore, or is it?
Well, it evolved into something else, I think. And actually, who got her into CBD was Snoop Dogg.
No kidding. There you go.
Yeah, gee, I'm surprised.
Yeah, so what kind of products does this have?
I don't really know. Just the launch was announced. The technology's a little vague.
Well, I guess more to come, but... if you like Martha Stewart and you like celebrities' lines, I'm sure they'll be perfectly fine products. I probably won't be around in 5 years from now.
I'm just not excited. They're probably expensive, overpriced.
Right.
I don't believe it's revolutionary. Nothing's going to change, the game.
Yeah.
I'm not excited by her dermatologist that did Hailey Bieber's line or consulted on it. I'm not excited.
Yeah, and they have the elemental serum for $135 and the daily skin supplement for $50. Whoa.
Oh, wow. Right. Yeah, no
there
thanks.
You go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, good
Sorry,
luck to you,
Martha
Stewart.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready to get into answering some questions?
Yeah, our first one comes to us from Sophia, a patron on Patreon. Hello, does product buildup cause hair breakage? For fine hair, would heavy products cause the hair to break?
Well, what's interesting about this question is the notion of buildup. What does that mean? And the notion of what's a heavy product. We had a product that I worked on a lot in Alberto Culver called VO5. VO5 hairdressing. Now that is just pretty much petrolatum, mineral oil, and a couple of other oils that you put on your head. There's really nothing heavier than that, right?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy for hair.
Right. And that was a perfectly fine product that has lasted since the 1950s. So if it was causing a lot of hair breakage and damage, it wouldn't enjoy the cult following that it continues to have. So I don't think just empirically there's a lot of evidence for products just because they're formulated a certain way, they're going to break hair.
Yeah, especially because ingredients like petrolatum or oils actually lubricate the hair fiber, so they would prevent hair from breaking. If anything, I think heavy products would just weigh the hair down and it would be difficult to manipulate. And then if you were increasing mechanical forces on the hair fiber to get it to do what you wanted it to do, then probably you could have some breakage. Because really what causes hair to break is anything that causes stress or strain on the hair fiber from a physics perspective. And the more lubrication you have, the less that happens. Now, I could see where if you had a really protein-heavy product, you could get breakage if you try to manipulate the hair with protein. But just protein being on the hair wouldn't cause your hair to break. You would actually have to physically manipulate it. And I say this because protein is a film former, so it forms a film on the outside of hair. But styling polymers also do the same. So you could put a styling product on your hair, and if it's a pretty stiff polymer and then you try to manipulate your hair with a brush, just the physics of the force and stress on the hair would cause your hair to break. So I really think it's less about heaviness and maybe more about not even buildup. We'll address buildup in a second, but having something that makes the hair inflexible that could cause breakage if you manipulate it.
And in fact, a light product, I guess, I would say something like a perm solution, right? That would be, it's water thin, it would be very light, but boy, that could cause a lot of hair breakage because it chemically degrades the hair. So that is heavy or light really isn't related to how much it's going to tend to cause the hair to break.
And even buildup, if we talk about like what buildup is sebum, skin cells, residual product, maybe you have a leave-in conditioner.
Or it is styling products. The other thing that can be built up, maybe you have silicones that don't wash out of your hair completely, or cationic polymers that can build up on your hair. And it's just essentially leaving stuff on your hair. If you looked at your hair on a microscope, you might see products still left on the hair that hasn't washed out. And that's kind of what buildup is.
And most of that buildup, though, I would think would happen more towards the scalp of the hair. Mm-hmm. The tips of your hair, if you're using a product with amodimethicone, which is a positively charged silicone that would stick to your hair, that may get on the mid-shaft to tips, but usually buildup happens around the roots. And the things that typically stick to your hair are things that you would want on your hair to condition it or lubricate it. And so those actually, I would think, would combat breakage.
Exactly. I would think the same. The one thing that buildup does do is it weighs your hair down and it could make it look flat. But again, those things are usually ingredients that are going to protect your hair from breaking rather than causing it itself.
Exactly.
Valerie, we've had a few people call in on our audio line.
Whoa.
We actually have a phone number line that you can use, which I put in the show notes. So if you want to just call in and ask a question, that works. And
don't be scared. We're not going to pick up.
That's right. We are. But Ty did that. She said this.
Hello, Valerie and Perry. We love listening to your show and enjoy reviewing your insights with each other. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and expertise. We get excited when we see a new episode has been released. 2 questions. Is it safe to use a soft silicone face scrubber with a mild facial cleanser for exfoliation, or is it better to go with a chemical exfoliant?
Well, I think, the best thing to do if you're going for exfoliation is to just use an exfoliant. I think mechanical rubbing of your face is important, and you can get mechanical rubbing actually with just your fingers in a cleanser. Using a silicone scrubber with a cleanser will also do the same thing, but that just kind of removes things that are already loose.
Right.
So if you have some dead skin cells that are there, but they just kind of need to be rubbed off your face, doing that, whether it's with your fingers or the silicone scrubber, will help that. I think you can overuse the silicone scrubbers, like the Clarisonic devices definitely have gotten overused over the years. But I think if you want to go for real exfoliation, where you're actually loosening the cells, I would go with the chemical exfoliant. It's probably much more effective, in my opinion.
Overall, it's going to be more effective. I agree with you. The silicone scrubber and a cleanser, you're really just sticking to the surface. You're not going to be able to get down some of the lower layers where you've got dead skin cells. They'll come up eventually, but it's just more efficient. Here's the second part of the question.
My second question is, what is the difference between sunscreens for the face and sunscreens for the whole body? We notice the active ingredients and their amounts are similar. Is there an advantage to using a sunscreen specified for the face? Valerie, we wish you the best for a happy and healthy delivery. Perry, hope your knee is improving and you are back to a full joggling routine. Thank you.
Well, that was nice.
Thank you for the kind words, Ty. We really appreciate that.
And I am almost back to my full joggling routine. At least I still joggle every day, but it just kind of hurts.
And I had a happy and healthy delivery. Still recovering, as I mentioned, but thank you for that. Well,
all right, sunscreens, face and body. What do you got to say for that?
I mean, from a formula perspective, I would say if you look at the actual chemicals that are used, they're probably pretty similar, at least from the sunscreen actives, film formers.
Well, even regulations, at least in the United States and Europe, the same things that you can use on your face, you can use on your body. There's no distinction there.
The only thing I could think of is like the haptics perspective. So what does the sunscreen feel like? Like a body sunscreen is no big deal if it's kind of greasy feeling. Sunscreen, at least the chemical sunscreens, are intrinsically oily feeling. So not a problem to put them on your body, or if it's kind of heavy or waxy, not a big deal.
Right.
That might not be a texture you want on your face. You may want something that looks less greasy, feels less greasy. Maybe you don't want the white cast on your face if it's a mineral sunscreen. So I would say from a SPF perspective, same thing. But from a user experience, facial sunscreens are probably taking into consideration the texture and sensory aspect.
Yeah, they're aesthetically designed to feel better on your face while still working the same. Now, you would say, well, why don't you just make the facial one? Why don't you just make that for the full body one? And honestly, it just, maybe with a full body one, you want to make it where it's going to spread a lot easier.
Yeah.
So it can be a little more greasy, where you don't want that on your face, because your face doesn't have a lot of space to have to spread it. So you don't have to make it as greasy.
And typically the facial sunscreens also they're kind of like cosmetic products. They're considered like drug cosmetics. They're also typically using like good for your skin ingredients. Like maybe they might have, vitamins or extracts in them, or niacinamide, or, whatever they have in them. So you don't necessarily want to put those all over your body, or maybe even from a price point, it wouldn't make sense to have those in a body sunscreen. But let's say you were at the beach and all you had in your bag was a facial sunscreen. You could certainly put that on your body. And if all you had was a body sunscreen, you could certainly put that on your face. There's nothing preventing from that. But I would think that, yeah, again, just an experience and maybe a cost difference perspective.
Right. For sure. I'm sure they charge more for the facial sunscreens than they do for the whole
per
body
ounce
ones. Right?
for sure. Yeah. Because usually facial sunscreens are 1.7 fluid ounces and body sunscreens are much bigger.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Well, look at this. We have another phone call in audio and this one comes to us from Lydia.
Hello, Beauty Brains. This is Lydia. And it seems like everywhere I look, there is a new beef tallow product coming out on the market. What are your thoughts on this new rage of beef tallow facial creams and various products using beef tallow? Thank you for all you do. Take care.
Beef tallow. That was an ingredient that was popularly used right up until the mad cow disease scare back in the 1990s, which was when everybody kind of moved out of that. But it's coming back, huh?
It was used as a feedstock for a lot of other ingredients as well. And it still is today, probably just not for the personal care market, maybe, the household and industrial markets. I'm sure.
But yeah, because it's not like animals are killed specifically for this ingredient, but this is just like a leftover from the meat industry. And so instead of just throwing it away, it's upcycled or
into soaps and emulsifiers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you could still see how somebody, if they're vegan or, they love animals or something and they don't want animal products, they wouldn't want something based on tallow. But I guess a portion of society is just doing the reverse on that, and they're embracing tallow.
I once said that, a few years ago, I predicted beef tallow to be a trending ingredient. You can find it in my articles on Happy Magazine, which I'm a regular contributor for. And I started seeing this because I noticed in the DIY and home crafter community, people were formulating with beef tallow. And once at a conference, I even said, like, if you're willing to eat steak, you should be willing to use beef byproducts in your cosmetic ingredients or cosmetic products, right? Because it's the original upcycling. I mean, they've used beef tallow for thousands of years to make soaps and stuff. And it didn't go over very, very well with the audience. But now look at that, beef tallow's coming out. And really all it is a fatty acid. And so it's a liquid because it's typically high in oleic. And so it feels kind of like really oily. So it feels kind of like an oil, I guess. And you can saponify it to become an emulsifier. Is there anything super special about it? I think fatty acids are great for skin. Would I take my own tallow and render it myself and make a cream? Probably not. But there are people doing it very successfully. And I actually, Perry, have a beef tallow product right next to me. And I got some gifts from some friends for the delivery. And one of them was a really awesome postpartum box. And my friend had put in a bunch of stuff from this company to help the mom after the baby. And one of them is a tallow nipple cream. And feels pretty good. I was surprised. I was like, beef tallow, and then I'm like, actually, I like it a lot. I would probably purchase it.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it in comparison to some of the other fatty acids. So natural oils like a sunflower oil, I think it's probably the closest to sunflower oil.
Yeah, sunflower oil is also high in oleic and linolenic.
Yeah, linolenic. So I think that's when everyone stopped using beef tallow in our industry, I think we all pretty much switched to sunflower oil to replace that because they have a similar fatty acid profile.
Yeah. Well, a couple of years, sunflower oil used to be super cheap. You could get it for like less than 50 cents a pound.
Yeah.
Until there was a major shortage when the Ukraine-Russia war broke out. And then it became several dollars a pound.
They grow a lot of sunflowers there, huh?
I guess they do. But
I guess they do.
Yeah. So it made beef tallow look pretty affordable, I guess. But that's not why it's trending. I think it's more of a secular thing, and it'll go out of fashion. Something else will be in. We'll see the pendulum swing again. But nothing wrong with it. There are some very nice products out there. You just want to make sure you know who you're getting them from because you don't know where they're getting their beef tallow from.
Now, has the concern of mad cow disease been gone? So if you're curious, mad cow disease is it's a misshapen protein, actually called a prion, which is able to, well, it gets in your brain and it causes Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease or mad cow disease in cows. And it could be really bad stuff. And that's kind of why the industry moved away from it, because there was a big breakout in the UK back in the 1990s. But I suppose this is something that they can screen out of it now.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. There was a blood ban for a while on people who lived in areas where they would have been exposed to mad cow disease through eating the beef. And I actually had a ban on my blood because I grew up in West Germany during that time period. Okay. And now I guess it's been lifted. But I went to donate my placenta after the birth. Sure. And at first we joked and said we were going to take it home and eat it, but we didn't. That's not funny to some people, but no, I went to donate it and I had to fill out this questionnaire, and they've actually, for placenta donations, now have a ban back on people who are from the regions I grew up in West Germany. Yeah, so it is still of concern in certain applications.
Yeah, I think getting into tallow, beef tallow, was always a low probability because it's
very low.
It's the oil. It's not the protein. It's not a protein, and the prion is a protein, so it's not
exactly
the chances of you getting in there and then the exposure would be a while. But as far as tallow going, like you said, it's cyclical. It's not surprising it comes back. I think it'll probably go away again because they're of the animal perceived animal cruelty side of this, but. It's a perfectly fine ingredient.
I'm a fan, I guess. A fan of this one product. I don't know.
All right. We've got one more question from Lisa. She says, "Hello, Beauty Brains. I'm looking for an alternative way to shampoo my mom's hair. She is currently bedridden. I came across the company Nurture Valley and wanted to get your opinion, based on the ingredients, on the no water rinse-free shampoo cap and the rinse-free body wash and shampoo. Here are the ingredients for the shampoo cap," and she lists those all. So I see the second ingredient after water is dimethicone copolyol, so that's a silicone. It's got a phospholipid in there and then lauryl glucoside. You love the glucosides, right?
Oh, yeah. Surfactant for cleansing, some panthenol, some other ancillary ingredients that support stability, preservative. It uses a trade name Nipagard, which is not kosher to use that, but that's okay. And then in the rinse-free body wash and shampoo, which nourishes skin and hair cells with essential vitamins, all the cells of your hair.
What?
It uses water, sodium C1416 olefin sulfonate, which is a surfactant, disodium cocoamphodiacetate, propylene glycol, preservatives, natural fragrance, hydrolyzed collagen. So it's basically, if it's left on, probably like a micellar water.
So this is going to be a low-level detergent, so it's not going to expose you to too much, because if they left too much in there, could cause irritation, especially a glucoside, right?
Exactly. Now, I'm a little confused at how this would work because with hair or your scalp, which is what you're primarily trying to cleanse, you have to be able to somehow remove the material from your scalp. And if you're just applying product, that doesn't really happen because at least with your face in a micellar water, you have the wiping of the micellar water on a cloth. And that's wiping debris and stuff away. But you can't really do that on your scalp.
Valerie, I actually worked on a product like this because we were trying to come up with a rinse-free shampoo.
Okay.
And
why didn't you guys launch?
Well, because it was very niche. Because in the marketing meetings, they said this product would be really good for camping.
Yeah.
See, it's
a very specific industry. Yeah,
it's kind of funny in our industry when something is way niche. You just say, "Oh, this would be great for camping." That means nobody's going to buy it, or they'll buy it one time. It's never going to be a product. So anyway, that's why I never launched it. But when the way this works is you have a foam pumper, so you pump it and you run the foam through to your hair. So you don't need the extra water to create the foam. It's created by the packaging. And then you could wipe it out, presumably with a washcloth.
Yeah, it's just hard. It's just not going to be as effective as a traditional
not at all.
shampoo. Not even close.
Not
but maybe it might help combat odor.
But it's the same way as powdered shampoos too. Powdered shampoos are another thing that people use when they can't get their hair wet. And that one is just like a starch or something that you spray into the hair. It soaks up the oil, and then you can comb it out. So this product might require you to comb it out. And as far as the rinse-free body wash goes, I mean, if you're looking at these ingredients, the cocoa amphodiacetate and the olefin sulfonate, those are pretty mild detergents, so they're probably at really low levels, so that if you don't wipe it all off, it's probably going to be okay too.
Yeah, I mean, I would just use it on a wet washcloth or something.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of wet washcloth, you got to go change one?
I do. Mr. Cosmetic Chemist has to run somewhere, and so I now have to take care of baby C.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Oh, look, there's the baby.
There he is. Say hi, baby C.
Aw, cute. Hold him up for the camera.
Aw. If you get a chance, head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. That's going to help other people find the show and ensure we have a full docket of beauty questions to answer.
And if you have a question, just record it on your smartphone and email it to thebeautybrains@gmail.com, or you can call that phone number that's listed in the show notes, or use the form that's also in the show notes, and you can type in your question.
I love that we have a telephone number.
We do. I'm going to have to, I'll announce it next week. The Beauty Brains are also on Patreon. If you want to support the show and you appreciate that we do not have ads, although we do occasionally have baby breaks now, you can go to patreon.com/thebeautybrains and support us at any level. You also get your questions answered with a higher priority and a transcript of the show.
Also, don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts. On Instagram, we're at The Beauty Brains 2018. On X, we're at The Beauty Brains. On Bluesky, we're at The Beauty Brains. We have a Facebook page and a TikTok.
You know what we also have, Valerie?
What?
The shows are now published on YouTube. Now it's
that's
mostly
right. We need to add this to our script.
Yeah, so go subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to listen through YouTube. I guess that's all the rage these days, what the kids are doing. So all the new episodes will be put up there. And actually, I'm going back and putting some old episodes up there too.
Oh, nice. So other people could listen to it while they clean their house.
Exactly.
Well, thanks again for listening, everyone. And remember, be brainy about your beauty.
Thanks, everybody. And welcome back, Valerie.
Thanks, yeah.
Kittens.